Death Hatch. Look through my music. Beat. Where is it at? There you go. Oh no.
Once a former NFL.
Not that one. Boom. This. I'll let it run for like 4 or 5 minutes. People get into the lobby. Been doing this since 2019.
You were great. I used to love watching. Yeah. How's it been for you?
It's been pretty good. I say in the years in the middle, it got a little rough for me because my ex and my daughters, they came because they were younger and they were influential under her. And then once my oldest went to college, everything changed because
One's a former NFL star turned esports coach.
But I was getting the stink eye from my wife. She's like, "What you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing."
And one's a dad who can't stop playing Rocket League.
These kids these days, they're like, blah, 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 blah. We're used to jump and run.
Together, they welcome you to Ahman Green's Gamers Lounge.
Oh, there we go. Hey, what's up, crew? I'm a little rusty. I've been on the road here in San Francisco for Super Bowl week, and it's been an amazing week for me and I say the foundation and getting initiatives started, talking with people in other areas that also help out with partnerships. But right now I'm sitting in, I say the second floor suite of the Marriott Union Square here in San Francisco, and I'm in the Pro Football Retired Players Association room that we have for players to come in and get information about what we offer for benefits, hang out, get a little bite to eat, and congregate, talk. And so for everybody in the chat, what's up? We're on LinkedIn right now, YouTube, Twitch, and X. So welcome to the stream. Let me look in the chat here. See, I know the usual suspects. You got Akido and my man, what's it? Wild Willow, how you doing? Yep. So just catching up on the week, man. It's the chat. I mean, I'll check in with y'all real quick here, and it's been a fun week. So got here on Sunday morning. Got checked into a hotel down in San Jose, and Monday did a Native Youth camp and tournament with 18 and under young ladies from Arizona and California, and with the group, the Native Youth Foundation. I'll actually put their website here on the screen real quick. And they are a group they're actually out of San Diego, but they cater to anything from Arizona, California, New Mexico, over in Texas, up to Oregon and Washington State. Share this tab. And they are proactive in getting young ladies, indigenous young ladies, into flag football, because flag football obviously is a big sport growing around America. I know University of Nebraska, my school, just picked it up as a scholarship sport, and they're handing out full rides. Let me get my man Akido in here real quick. Hello.
No, I'm late, bro. I'm sorry.
It's okay. But no, this is what I've been doing. This is what I did on Monday, was the camp, and it turned out very good. And the video, it can be watched on FNX, so First Nations Experience. It's an app you could download, a free app that is like a PBS app. They partner with them, and then they share the stories of everything they do, from the All-Star game that we had on Monday, or the All-Star camp tournament game that we had on Monday, and any other episodes of Native American content, talk shows, cartoons, documentaries, everything about, every tribe that's here that is in the United States, Alaska, some of it of the world. So being in the room here at the hotel, just earlier today, I met a guy that I played a lot against, Robert Griffin. He was a Minnesota Viking. We were Packers, so we were divisional rivals. And so seeing him I hadn't seen him in forever, and he was a thumper too. He wasn't a big guy, but he could hit he could hit hard. So. But to see him, and he's doing a couple of things. I know he said he's doing like an apparel line, backpack apparel line, and trying to make it like a collector's edition of stuff. Where all 32 teams are represented on the backpack for players that want to get an opportunity to buy it. So I'm like, very cool for him. So doing that. So this website here, as I said, it tells stories of everybody that is has a Native background. I myself found out last year, not found out, but did some more research. I'm Choctaw Nation out of Oklahoma. I'm on my mother's side of the family, so I'm trying to make sure I know exactly who I am. After a long time of kind of hearing what my sister or my brothers talked about, but now doing my digging, my investigation, being a IP, or a detective, and trying to figure out who I am and where I come from. Because I think knowing where you come from and knowing who you are, genealogy wise, is so impactful. You have confidence, and you got just things, knowing like, man, this is where I'm from. This is what my ancestors did, or whomever before me, and now this is where I'm at. And even for so many reasons. So what we got in the chat? We got Stu Cage. How you doing? I'm doing well. Been playing Madden 06 again. Go Pack Go. All right. That was a good Madden. That was a good Madden. So Akido, what you been up to, man? I know you've been
I've been going through school. It's been
Yeah,
that grind.
there's my co-host. Yeah.
It has been that grind. It's been fun though. Like me and Atomic have been chatting it up every day. They've been hitting the grind on various games. We've been in chat. But on the business side, I had an interview Friday for
Okay.
Lakeshore Ambassador. I finished my web development course like in like less than a month. Like
There
I
you
knocked
go.
the whole course out. I did my final project a couple days ago. Steph's been working really hard at grinding out school, preparing for your return, so that way we can get some gaming and stuff in. I'm making the gaming club at Lakeshore. I just got to type up my PowerPoint slides, but I got the members and the faculty advisor. We're going to work on a Discord, so that way people in the community at Lakeshore who may not be on campus can still interact with each other and still play games with each other. So that's always a good thing. And then maybe partnering with Lakeland, where I used to esports coach, to do some lake to lake stuff that we already do, but definitely trying to get people from the 2-year college to the 4-year college and maybe using the esports facility and stuff they got going on there as a means to inspire people to do that. So
Gotcha.
lots of stuff going on my end too.
Got it. Good. So if you see on the screen, everybody in the chat, this was the event I did on Monday. This game is actually, you could watch it. Watch me, Coach Adrienne Smith was the opposing coach on the other All-Star team with the California team. You could go download that free app, FNX. It's a First Nations experience. Download that app where you could see the whole game and what went on that day on Monday, February 2nd, of the young ladies, me coaching them. And that's actually Adrienne right here because she did it last year. And so I was the rookie coach, came in and had a good time. We actually got the win. Akido for my first time coaching.
There you go. I'm not surprised, man. I'm not surprised.
So it was fun and something that we're going to probably dig into in the next segment with our guest coming on, former player Greg Hatch. He is going to share his story. But something I shared with the young ladies because starting the game, they were like real nervous. I could tell it. I could sense it, see their faces. And they were playing one heck of a first quarter, right, too. So this was like the in-between. Actually, it was halftime. And I said, hey, think about this, young ladies. I said, don't even think about that you're in California in San Jose for Super Bowl week. Think about that you're back home in Arizona. So you could just relax. And you're just doing something you've been doing all season. Because they had a great season. They were 9-4. And I think they went to their semifinals. If not, they won. So I say go to that mindset and not think about who I am as your coach, former player playing in it. Don't worry about and because they had their other coaches there that actually coached. But I said, think about that. And you could just see all their faces just all the pressure just kind of went away because they were like, I'm pretty sure thinking, oh man, we got to play good for this guy. He's a former player in NFL. He wants this. And I'm like, no, I want y'all just to have fun and go out here and play ball. And we did. One girl, Addie, I think she had like 3 interceptions, 1 pick six, and then 2 or 3 touchdowns on offense. She went both ways, so it was amazing. So that was a fantastic experience. So here in a minute here, so look at this website a little bit more, and this is all you said 501(c)(3). I forgot to mention that about the Native Youth Foundation. So this is where you could donate. You can see that on the screen here. And so on that note, I will take it to a quick commercial break. Then we'll be back with one of our guests here to get into a nice and good conversation. So see y'all in about, how many seconds is this commercial? 17 seconds. See y'all in a few. Whether you're deep in the digital world or out exploring the great outdoors, Slide Drink keeps the good times rolling. So power up your play with Slide Boost for energy, Slide Chill to relax, and Slide Dream to recover. No matter where your adventures take you, explore with Slide. Refresh, recharge, and repeat. All right, let me pull this off the screen here. So let me see. We got 3 people on the screen now. Let me trade out. Put my man Jeff on the top there. So we have Jeff Hutch, position, team, and your time in NFL. Real quick.
Yeah, I was. My name's Jeff Hatch.
Hatch. Excuse me, Hatch. Sorry about that.
Yeah, left tackle, drafted by the Giants, 3rd round, 2002.
Played there for 3, and then was in Tampa my last year.
Mm-hmm.
Spinal fusion, retired, 26. My collegiate career was illustrious, but my pro career was not as much. But in college, I hang my hat on. I'm the second highest drafted player in the modern era of Ivy League football.
Gotcha.
I was a 3rd round pick. So there was one guy who was a 2nd round pick, but I'll be hanging my hat on that until somebody gets picked.
Gotcha. And you said Ivy League, where at?
Yeah, University of Pennsylvania.
Gotcha. All right. And so how many years you said you play? 4 years. And so having, Jeff and other players come in, this is their opportunity to, obviously for guys that have been out a long time like us, we know, the members of the PFRP pretty well, and we know what it is. And it's a group that myself being on the board a little bit over a year now, we make sure we notify the players in different newsletters about some of their benefits that we are helped to get them. And because we know, as former players definitely know, and then the team here knows that there's some things that former players need to know and need help with after ball, because a lot of guys, majority of guys don't come out of ball very happy with things. Me and Jeff were just talking, offline before we went live, that, a lot of pro football players and professional athletes in general don't really know what to do when the ball is done. When we're not gearing up on Saturdays or Sundays or Thursday nights now, all that. And it's something that, our stories are a little bit different. Like for me, I had my dad was an AA counselor. So I went to those meetings, and, I'm age 6 and 7. I remember processing all that information, hearing adults talk about, things that they were putting themselves through or putting their families through. And some of them came out on top, because of the counseling and talking about stuff, and some of them didn't, So I'll kick it over to you, Jeff, on telling your story, because I've told my story in so many ways, because I stream my game on this channel. So my chat knows me. So now let's get to know you. And I don't know if you saw it earlier this week. Bo Jackson was on Stephen A. Was on First Take. Yeah. So, but he had a great message, something that I think you'll definitely like. He mentioned, because he brought up the fact that a lot of guys, he was talking about former guys and football players in general, current and former, don't share the things that are going on with them because of them you want to be masculine, and sharing and, shows weakness and all that. So he was like, stop it. He basically said, stop it. He mentioned that he just got his prostate removed, that he was dealing, make sure the recovery of that, and understanding that you got to share that information so people know, one, what you're going through, because you're human, because once we put on that helmet and shoulder pads, everybody think we're superhuman. Like some of my characters are like Batman and Black Panther and Wolverine or something. It's like, no, we don't regenerate. We don't regenerate. So it's if you're comfortable, share whatever you're comfortable sharing with us, on the show today, and let's start.
Cool, appreciate it. And I just want to touch on it too, because we were talking about that before we started rolling this idea of being willing to share openly about the things that are happening with us.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you learn that skill set early by being in those rooms. And gratefully, I found those rooms later, and I'll tell you like what that looked like for me. Yeah. But that I think is like, it's a real big deal, especially for us in the world we come from, because not only is it so important for us to do it, but it's important for other guys to see us do it so they know it's okay to do it. Like you're saying, Bo Jackson making that statement about his prostate. I didn't know until I read earlier this week that like they said something like 70 to 80% of men over the age of 65 have some form of like colon prostate cancer.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I didn't know that.
Me neither.
We don't talk about that stuff.
Nope.
So I'm glad to hear him say that. But yeah, for me personally, right, like I played for 4, and I was a guy, I'm like every other American boy that grew up, in the last 50 years and saw sports on TV and watched the pro athletes be revered as superheroes, like you said, right? Yep. And I wanted to be that, and was lucky enough to get there.
Gotcha.
And then sadly, really injuries hit me early in my pro career. I was very healthy all the way through, and then injured my back and really was just never the same player. Became opiate dependent while I was playing. Because I was willing to do whatever I had to do to get out on the field. And you talked about us not regenerating. You know, people do think we're superheroes, but you and I both know through lived experience what's going on in those locker rooms and in those training rooms is we're doing whatever we have to do to make sure we can get out there and perform. And it's often to the detriment of our health, really.
Correct.
But again, like, it's a short career. We don't have a lot of time out there. So you just make the best and you do the best you can. But when I had my spinal fusion and had to retire, that was when I got really hit in the face with the fact that, like, now I don't have this justification that I'm playing in the NFL.
Right.
Now I'm just a guy who does a lot of opiates and drinks a lot of alcohol.
Right. You don't have that kind of like that time, like work time to focus on too. Yeah.
Totally.
Right.
Like, my schedule's open, but again, it's like, for me, the justifications were always the thing, right? Like, how am I justifying the behaviors I'm engaging in? Right. And when I have the idea that I'm a specialized person because I play in the NFL, well, boy, I can kind of do whatever I want because look at what I do. Well, then that's gone.
Right.
And now I'm just a guy with like a real bad problem with drugs and alcohol.
Correct.
And I was really lucky in the sense that I will shout out the NFL substance abuse program.
Okay.
I had popped for marijuana while I was playing.
Right.
And I had been in their program. So when I retired, and I went really down really fast, really hard and really fast. And I ended up in the emergency room in Tampa General Hospital because I'd been with the Bucs.
Right.
That doctor that I was seeing for the NFL substance abuse program out of South Florida came and saw me in the hospital. It was like, look, like, we went to your place. We saw how you're living. Right. And like, you need to go somewhere to get some help, you know?
Yeah.
Now, at the time, for me, that was a completely ridiculous idea. I mean,
trying to get straight, basically.
Come on.
Right.
You know, well, really, I was nowhere near the place of owning the fact that I had a big enough problem that I needed to go get help for it.
Right.
People who go to rehab are like crazy people. That's what I thought, right?
Right. You like that getting right, huh?
Yeah. What do you mean? I just took too much. I'm going to go home and be fine. Like, I won't do that again.
Correct.
But they, you know, she let me sit there and they kind of got me wrapped around the idea of maybe going and getting some help. And so I did that. And, you know, I was lucky, man. I bought on to it right away. And we talked about too before the fact that it was lucky for me in the sense that was 2 months after I retired that I ended up in treatment and got sober and found this whole new purpose for my life as a guy in recovery. And I started working in that space. I was now sober. Like, it gave me purpose. Right. That I see so many of our brothers just flounder for so long because they can't find that, you know? It's hard, man. It's a difficult time because you go from this thing that you are waking up and going to sleep thinking about it and caring about it every day of your life. And then it's gone. And the skills.
One of the things that make you feel like it makes you.
It makes you who you are.
Right.
Yeah, it's your identity.
Yep.
That's removed. And I don't know about you, but for me, like, I couldn't. There's no job interview I'm going to go on where they're going to ask me to do pass sets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, ask me what a zone block is for a play, right? Like
100%.
Now, all the teamwork, discipline, all that stuff is transferable skills. But the primary skill we were using, you ain't going to go. They're not going to ask you to make a cut and show a spin move to get through a hole when you go in for the job interview.
100%.
So that was an interesting piece of it too for me. But like I said, I was lucky. I got sober. I went to work in that field and really found purpose in that space. And did that for a number of years. I was down in Louisiana at the time. I was there for about 5 years. I went out to LA after about 5 years to go back to graduate school, get my MBA. Managed to find my way into an acting class and somehow managed to sneak into the world of acting and stunt work.
Right. Now we're talking, that fun stuff there. But you basically find that next step.
Right.
Of how to fill that void of football, not being there. That's basically what you did, and you had to do that.
Part of the evolution of becoming my full self.
Yeah.
Like, I had to go through that, right? So I did that for some years and ended up beating myself up again, shockingly, and had to get a total knee replacement. I was 35, and I'd been sober for about 8 years at that point. But I knew I was going to have this joint replacement surgery,
right?
And I'm going to be put on opiates afterwards. Like, it's just part of when you get a joint replacement,
the healing process. Basically, gotcha.
It's not like getting a hernia repair. You know what I'm saying? It's like so. I think I thought I would be okay.
Yeah.
because I had so much time and I was, helping people get well, but that's not the way it played out.
Right.
I got that surgery. I remember I woke up in recovery. I clicked that little button for the pain medicine.
You have to come through.
Felt that hit my bloodstream, and boy, I mean, it was like, I am a part of the 12-step fellowship, right?
Correct.
It will remain anonymous, but that's a big piece of my life. And one thing we talk about in the literature of that 12-step fellowship is that the disease of addiction is cunning, baffling, and powerful. And it's chronic, progressive, and fatal. And for me, when I clicked that button and felt that feeling again, it was the moment for me where it really came true, where I was like, oh my God, it is chronic and progressive.
Yeah.
Because I feel it. I feel it harder than I ever felt it.
Yeah, fully aware of it now.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. So, that I'm good. I'm sure you are too, right? I'm good at holding it together.
I think that's the best. Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
I can make it look good from the outside and hold together for a pretty good while. I'm dying inside, but nobody's gonna know.
Correct.
And that went on for about 4 years for me. Right. Now it got really rough in the sense that when I wasn't doing stunt work and acting anymore, I really just couldn't. I was making my way doing stunt work. That's how I was paying my bills.
Correct.
And then once I had the fusion and then I had the knee replacement, I was like, man, I need to not put myself through that much more physical stuff, right? So I went back to work in the treatment field, and I'm in relapse while I'm doing that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I'm building these stories in my mind about the fact that, like, I have chronic pain. I'm taking these painkillers as they're prescribed. I'm not using more than I should.
Right.
Nobody would understand anyways because they've not been through what I've been through.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to help people, right? All this, to be frank, BS.
Correct.
But it sounds good in my head.
Yeah. And then we do that, right? We do it to make it easy to get up, easy to move out throughout your day. And that's my dad speaking, because like I said, that's AA counselor right there.
Right.
But stuff I started, I'll say little spurts for me dealing with stuff I had to deal with. That I didn't want to bring everybody into, my wife, my kids. I didn't want to bring them down that road with me either. Yeah. And that's like, what? It's when I got my time to go play video games or just go somewhere and sit in the room quietly, that's when I'll deal with it, by myself, but knowing that I need to do better than that. So definitely understand. Can relate.
Compartmentalize.
100%. 100%.
That's a skill set we learn playing, right?
100%.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was out there and doing that, and I can remember to tell you, I remember the day that what I had been doing was I had gotten the surgery in Maryland, so my doctor was there. I was up in New Hampshire at this point working. So once a month, I would drive back to Maryland, fill the prescription for my fentanyl patches, and then drive back. It was 16 hours round trip. I was doing that once a month.
Right.
And I just was tired of doing it after a couple of years.
Yeah.
So I'm tired of doing this. And I knew heroin was an opiate.
Right.
And I said, this is a cheaper alternative. I'm doing it. Again, these crazy stories. I'm doing it because it's for my pain.
Yeah.
And I bet you I can get it a lot easier than trying to drive 16 hours round trip. So sure enough, I find it real quick and easy.
Near you, like in your vicinity, basically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, I walked up the door of my apartment building, went to the park across the street, and said, "Can you get me heroin?" And I went, "Yes."
Wow.
So I mean, it's like the access is always going to be there if you want it. So I meet a dealer, and then I'm spending all my money at the drug dealer before I know it. Right. Meanwhile, I'm like sitting on panels talking about treatment and recovery and prevention with the governor and the senators.
Right.
And I'm doing lines of heroin in the parking lot. Snorting heroin in the parking lot before I go in to do that.
Wow.
So it was like a real life.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Dude, I mean, like really like ripping me apart from the inside, And what happens for me in that situation is when I feel that much hypocrisy, I'll just stay more inebriated, right? I stay more loaded longer so that I don't have to deal with the reality of the situation.
Exactly.
Right?
So it's your way of like, I know I'm doing this wrong, but I'm trying to make it seem right.
That's it.
And we do that. When we get in that situation, we try to make it make sense.
That's it. Make it make sense.
And then when you're trying to do that, that's when you're really in trouble, basically.
That's it. Yeah. And so I was spending all my money there, and I went to her, I said, man, I can't do this anymore. He said, well, look, if you'll drive down the highway 4 exits and pick my load up and bring it back to me, I'll give you your personal use amount for free.
Gotcha.
And I say, well, that makes sense. And then I'm trafficking, dude.
Correct.
I'm a heroin trafficker.
Correct.
So that went on for a while. And I remember it was September 17th of 2017. What happened was in July of 2017, I had gone down and picked up a load and brought it back to the guy that I was driving for it.
Mm-hmm.
He left my apartment, and I got a call about an hour later. They told me he got arrested.
Oh.
And, he left my apartment and got arrested.
Correct.
So they're like, you need to get out. Right.
Yep.
And it was the first time in the 4 years where like the veil of my BS had got poked by reality in a way where I was like, oh, this just got really real.
It's got real.
Like this ain't funny. Like, you're not playing. This ain't kiddie games.
No.
And sure enough, it was a couple months later, September 17th of 2017, that I ended up getting arrested.
Oh wow.
And they arrested me when they pulled me over. I had a small amount in the car, and I swallowed a bunch of it.
Oh man.
And then, of course, because I'm an idiot, left the other part in the center console. They pulled me out the car and find it. But that amount that I had swallowed, they had taken me to question me, and it started melting in my stomach, and I was like, they could tell I was.
Yeah, something was
So
right.
this is wild. I don't know that I've ever heard this happen before. I'm sure it has, but not in my friends. They took me home.
Okay.
They took me back to my apartment, and they're like, we'll be back to see you tomorrow.
It's the cops.
This is the cops. And so when that happens, for anybody who's listening to this in the future, if that happens to you, just understand they're not letting you go. It just means an authority larger than that one is coming for you.
Oh.
Because the next day when I woke up,
FBI?
FBI, DEA,
Gotcha.
and the state police.
Wow. Okay.
And that's my sobriety date. September 18th, 2017 is my sobriety date. So that was how I woke up that morning. They were at my door, and by the time they left, I was part of a federal investigation.
Mm-hmm.
And the stipulations were you don't tell anybody what's going on, you don't change anything in your life, and you don't drink and you don't use drugs. Any of those three things will trigger your immediate arrest, and we'll be in touch. And they left.
That's an eye opener for me.
Boy.
I got a brother that's a cop, so I already know. So just hearing that right there, oh yeah.
So yeah, so I mean that I would say probably to be truthful with you, that was the experience. Like, I met somebody, he's a doctor in Houston, his name's John Price, and he talks a lot about the fact that in our society, American society in particular, as men, we don't have any rituals to bring us into manhood, right?
Yes.
We don't have that.
I get that. Yep.
Right. There's a lot of cultures where there's some rite of passage that takes place where you go, you were a boy, now you're a man.
Yep.
We don't do that here, right? So for me, that reckoning came then, where it was like, okay, I don't have my crutch anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to sit with myself in present mind and recognize the weight of what I've done.
Right.
And like what consequences are going to come. I don't know when they're going to come, but they're gonna. And I grew in that time, man.
Yeah.
I became who I needed to become, because what it forced me to do was go inside.
Yeah.
And lean into these practices of prayer and meditation that had been a part of my life before.
Mm-hmm.
But now I was doing it because I'm just to tell you the truth, like I had the note written and I had the box cutter under the sink in the bathroom. Like I was like, I'm going to try this for a bit, and if I get some relief, cool. But if not, I'm out, man. Because there was I did not see any way through the situation, man. I was going to get charged federally. I built this life as this guy in recovery. That has exploded now. And like,
it's been unveiled, like you said.
How can I? There's no future.
Correct.
So I started leaning into that stuff really hard, and man, I found what I was looking for, which is really a connection to source in a way that enabled me to go, okay, whatever's happening in this third dimensional material plane,
right?
it can't touch this fourth dimensional spiritual plane that exists between me and the God of my understanding, right?
Right.
Like that is not touchable by human. And so with that understanding, then I was able to at least get to a place where I was like, okay, like whatever comes is going to come, and I'm going to take it on the chin, and I'm going to keep going.
Right.
You know? And so it ended up being 2 years later that I finally actually got charged. So for 2 years, I walked around waiting for the hammer to come down.
Okay.
In that time, I met a woman and fell in love.
Yeah.
And she didn't know anything about it.
Right. You didn't tell her right away. Right.
No, I didn't tell her because the detective who led the investigation into me from the New Hampshire State Police ended up becoming my closest confidant.
Okay.
Because we got to know each other, and he was like, you know what, dude, it's crazy because I was investigating you. I thought you were probably like the worst person I'd ever investigated. And then I got to know you, and you explained that you have this thing called substance use disorder.
Right.
And this thing called addiction, right? And like he knows me now. He knows I'm not a bad human being, right?
Mm-hmm.
My behaviors were bad.
Yep.
But that's not who I am. And so
Exactly.
he was really my advocate and helped me out. He was like, you know, he stayed close to me through that situation and really helped me get to the other side of it.
Right.
But he said, you know, you can't tell anybody. Because if you do, they're listening to you, so they're going to arrest you,
Right.
but they'll arrest that person too because they're trying to get you.
Yeah.
You know? And I was like, oof. So I didn't say anything to her. So a year and a half into our relationship was the day I got charged federally. It became public information, and then I could tell people. And so I got a call from my attorney that morning. The charges were going public.
Right.
And brought my boss into my office, sat him down.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this guy has been sober a long time. As far as he knows, I've been sober a long time.
Correct.
We've been working together for years.
Okay.
And I have to sit there and go, hey, man.
This is what really going on.
And they said, well, and the interesting thing about it was I was almost 2 years sober at this point.
Okay.
You know? But here I am that now everybody knows, and now I'm going to face the consequences.
Right.
Right. I've been facing the internal consequence, but now everybody else knows. So his first thing was cool. He's like, are you okay? Like, I'm good. Like, I'm fine.
Yep.
But I'm going to have to, the Reaper's coming for that.
Yeah, I gotta serve my time.
I got to do the consequence for what I did. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So then I went home and sat this woman down who I've fallen in love with.
Yep. And that's tough.
Good gracious.
That is, and then that's a whole nother.
Good night.
You know,
probably the most difficult conversation.
Yeah, talking to your significant other about something like on that weight is, it's just it's rough. Cool. Trust me, I can relate. Cool. I definitely can relate.
Yeah, it was heavy, man. But you know, she would be cool with me saying it in a public forum, and like I told you, right, she's been in recovery a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so she leaned into that, right? And she was like, she never knew me as this guy that was in relapse doing those things. The only way she'd know me is as the sober version of myself.
Correct.
And so she stuck with me, you know. And boy, when that information went public, man,
right?
Because in the midst of it too, the vice president. This was during Trump's first term.
So 20, that was 16?
It was 2017, 2019. So it was 16 to 20, right?
Yeah. So all right. 2019.
Mike Pence is the vice president. For whatever reason, Mike Pence was going to come speak at this treatment center.
Okay.
Well, he canceled the morning of because the DEA called him and said, you can't go talk there because we're about to charge a dude who works there with trafficking me.
All right.
So he canceled the trip at the last minute. So that was kind of a news story for some reason because they were like, that doesn't usually happen. Why did he cancel this trip to New Hampshire?
Correct.
Well, that 2 weeks later is when they charged me. So when they were able to tie in, that was why he canceled the trip, with the fact that I was a retired NFL player, with the fact that I've been working in recovery.
Mm-hmm.
They made me look like Pablo Escobar, man.
And
you know, it was on CNN.
Wow.
There's an article in the New York Times about it.
Right.
There's a 12-page story in Sports Illustrated about it. Like, it was, I got torched.
Gotcha.
In a way that I deserve to get torched, right? Like, you don't get to pick your consequences. I don't get to go out there and say, no, I have substance use disorder. These are the things I did, and don't hold me accountable. No. So it all burned.
Yep.
And again, it was another step towards becoming my true self, because what happened in that experience was all these pretenses I had and thoughts I had about concern for what other people thought about me.
Gone.
Dude.
Gone.
The worst thing I ever did is all over the internet.
Right.
You can look it up today. You type my name in, it's going to be coming up.
Right.
So you walk around with that, you go, you know what? I don't really.
It's white noise.
Dog. Your opinion has no influence on how I behave.
Yeah, I did. Like, this is happening to me right now.
And you know, man. You're a high-profile player, right?
Yep.
Like, there's a lot of stories out there about you probably while you were playing, maybe after whatever.
Oh yeah, no, I know 100%.
That is not really who you are, and you have to kind of walk with that and go, look, I'm not going to let that.
Yeah, and that's how I am. You know, cool. for the stuff that happened in 20. It was actually around the same time for me with my daughter. It was basically, like I said, her mom. Even like I mentioned to you before we went live, she was my high school sweetheart. But once she found out and saw, and other people were in her ear about my success in college, to our high school to college, she just turned this other person. In fact, I say, long story short, get to where in 2017, that manipulation that she would do to people, she did to one of my daughters. And so that was her calling the police on me. Basically, where I got the state of Wisconsin parenting my child instead of me parenting my child. Wow. And then that, for me, between losing contact, can't contact my daughter for a couple years. But then I had several jobs. One was with the NFL, gone, and other things that I had pop up later on where I was going to get jobs or coaching opportunities, gone, because all this was everywhere else. Exactly. Oh yeah, no, I'm right there with you, bro. I'm right there with you. I've been down that road, and so for me, definitely, like I said, all relating, understand it, but then now, like you talk about, now you're on that side where nothing else is going to hit you and bother you.
Come on.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm ready. So, but I burned it all down, and luckily I had a buddy who was starting a new treatment program down in Savannah, Georgia.
Right.
And he called me up. He said, "Look, I know you've been sober again for a couple of years. I was in the C-suite at this big recovery organization, and I lost that job. Obviously, only thing I could get a job doing was it was in the holiday season around this time.
Okay. And so like a part-time.
UPS.
Yeah.
Filling trucks for UPS, man. Packing 18-wheelers, because that's the only gig I could get.
Right.
So he called me. He said, "Look, it's not going to be any money, but at least get you out of New Hampshire, and you and Lauren can come down here and start fresh." Sounded good to me at that point because like if you get engaged in something like that, right? Everyone knows who you are. They know what your face looks like.
Yep.
Me, I was a left tackle. Nobody really knows who we are, but I'm also 6'7". So when my butt is on the news, and then you see me in the grocery store,
and you stick out. You stick out with
Right.
And the big guys stick out like a sore thumb.
That's right. So we moved down there, and right then COVID hits.
Okay.
This was December 2019. We moved down there. By February, March is when everything shut down. Right. Savannah operated pretty normally. In the South, it wasn't.
Savannah, Georgia.
Not a ton changed, but my case didn't get put in front of a judge for another 2.5 years.
Oh wow.
So I was 4.5 years sober again by the time I got sentenced.
Wow.
So I spent 4.5 years, bro, waking up and going to bed, wondering whether I was going to go to federal prison.
Okay.
And again, heavy.
Yeah.
But now, another piece of that thing where it's like, dude, I really don't get stressed about that much.
Right.
Because
you kind of know your fate.
I spent 4.5 years waking up not sure if I was going to prison.
Correct.
For a long time. Like, I'm not worried about, I'll pay my bills.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. So when I finally did get sentenced, like I said, I had been sober again for 4.5 years. So the judge was like, he was more lenient than he would have been.
Okay.
I had been working, helping people. I'd been sober a long time. I'd been in supervision for all that time. I never had a positive test, obviously, like all the things. So they gave me 3 years probation.
Gotcha.
And I didn't have to go to prison, and that was cool because by that point I had proposed to my fiance
now.
And we were waiting to find out when we could get married because we didn't know if I was going to have to go to prison for a few years.
Correct. Yeah.
So once we know I'm not, then we can kind of move forward with that. And she kind of hit me and was like, "Look, I don't really want to live in the Deep South." She's from Northern California.
She's from
in New Hampshire, and
so that's why you're here. That's one of the reasons you're here.
We moved to Washington State. She wanted to move to the Pacific Northwest.
Gotcha.
So I made some calls and got the industry I work in the substance use disorder industry. It's a small industry. So I had some friends out in Oregon. I called one of my buddies up. His name's Matt Brown. He's a great dude. he managed to get me an interview, and I got a job up there, and we moved out there in December 2022. We got married in October 2023.
Okay.
And we had our daughter September 1st of this past year. She's 5 months.
Awesome.
Yeah. And life is really good, man. You know, I've been sober almost 8.5 years again. My wife's been sober for 12 years. I work in the field again. You know, I got my coaching certification, so I do like life coaching with guys.
Awesome.
Guys that are in early recovery, or guys like us who are coming out, making the transition from being active players into retirement, trying to find their footing and figure out how to go.
Yep.
And I have found like true joy in living and being useful and helpful.
Right. Yeah.
Using these experiences you and I have had, right? When you find a way to use those experiences to help somebody else along the way, come on, man. So you know, it's all good. So that's my story.
That's your story, and I say a lot of relation, because that's where I'm at now. I'm in my purpose. You know, being part of this board, being voted in by my peers, and just taking in the process of how we look at everything in terms of what we need to give to other players. You know, between like we do the obvious thing with the vision and dental.
I've used that dental benefit for
right,
sure.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and then the other, you know, sending the newsletter out and learning that information, what goes into it, and making sure the players get it. You know, and making sure they register properly. You know, because a lot of guys don't, I say, read the fine print behind everything, and then they get frustrated, and then, you know, the people behind the scenes that run, you know, help us run this, you know, organization, then is like working overtime pretty much, and trying to get players to understand it. You just click the link here and it's real easy, but they like, no, it's hard. It seems like it's hard, and it's not. So trust me, I've gotten even players, you know, some of my old teammates contacted me. Right. Ahman, you're on the board now, but I said, man, it's actually just take your time, don't rush through it, and you click this button, you put your name in, and you'll be able to, you know, do what you need to do. You know, submit the right information, or get the ID number that's yours, and put it here. You just got to take your time and read it. Don't get frustrated, because once you get frustrated, obviously, as we know, you know, your focus is off. You know, and so the biggest thing I make sure I let them know is, look, if I've been, you know, maybe there with you, you know, so I understand it, but just don't get frustrated, don't get emotional, and then click through it and call the help number. You know, it's a lot of stuff out there to try to make it, I say user friendly. That's right. You know, for them to get it. To do it, man. Yeah. Take the time to do it. It's worth it. Yep. 100%. 100%. What do you think is the biggest challenge? You kind of talked about, I mean, in length just now, but NFL players face after retirement, between health, finances, or identity? Wow. I think I'll lean into the piece that I really spend the most time around, which is not to, well, you know, I would say health and identity are the things I know about. Health in the sense of a lot of our guys, when they come out of the game, have, if maybe they don't have what I have, maybe they don't have substance use disorder, maybe they don't have actual addiction issues, but in all likelihood, if they played long enough, they probably become dependent on some type of medicine, something to ease the pain while they've been playing. Maybe it's marijuana, maybe it's opiates, maybe it's alcohol, whatever it is, right? Like, but I think a huge issue is trying to help them understand that, like, there's other pathways to alleviate that physical pain that do not involve the substance. Right? Acupuncture, meditation, yoga, all these stretching. Yes, working out, stuff. Staying in the gym, right? All these things we can do to help alleviate that without having to go to the nuclear level of putting some substances. I like how you say nuclear. Serious, you know? So that one, and then a second one, I think, you know, identity, that identity loss we feel in the transition. What you talked about, right? That is the piece that I think is real hard for us as guys who are alphas. To raise our hands up and say, hey, I need help with this, you know, because we've done everything ourselves the whole way. We got what we got. Yeah. So now all of a sudden I'm supposed to put my hand up and say, help me. Yeah. It's a total counterintuition for me. And like, for me, it's like, that don't even make sense. 100%. And so I take you back real quick. NFL draft, I think the first time they did it in Chicago, when they start moving it around, I remember bringing it, almost saying it verbatim, how you said it, to a group of guys that was in remember when the legend community became a thing? That group, I said that, and that group basically gave me the stink eye. And I remember somebody saying, "Oh man, if you think about the end, your career is over." And I'm like, "Do you?" Like in my head, I didn't say it to him, but in my head, I was like, "Do you just realize you just said something else kind of backwards?" Because I'm not planning for the end. I wasn't planning for the end. I was making sure I knew where I was going next. I wasn't gonna just fall off the cliff. I had to stare,
interesting.
And I was just like, and everybody gave me the same look, and I'm like, what is going on? And it was like, for me, I was like, justification. I know I'm doing the right thing for myself, and you know what? I gave a little 15 cents, and I was like, well, I guess nobody wanted to grab it.
Boy, it's like a taboo. You brought up a taboo.
Yeah, I brought up something like it was like, bang. I was like, okay,
it's so wild.
I was like, interesting.
How interesting.
You know, and I'm in a group of my peers, guys that been out the game 2, 3, 4, 5, 20 years. And a few of them, trust me, I was like, okay, this is it. Now that was interesting. That was to observe that. And I've always been an observer. Yeah. I was a quiet kid growing up. Yeah. So I will always read the room when I come in when I didn't know anybody. Yeah. And of course I knew some guys, you know, they were former, you know, Hall of Fame players. Yeah. Guys I played against, but still some of them I wasn't in their locker room, right? And so when I said, you know, I just sat back, and then after that, I was like, okay, I know where I'm at, so I'm gonna just, quiet and just observe. That's it. And just say, hello, how you doing? Keep it simple. Good for you. You know, because I was like, because you gotta know. Yeah. What's the room I can make movement in? Right. Because in that instance, I was gonna be in a battle. You know, if I brought up anything after that, I was like, it ain't time for that. I'm here for the I just want to have a good. My wife was there too, and it was like, nah, I'm not going to go down. I know how to pick my battles. That's right. You know, so I think too, though, you know, us having this conversation, right? I mean, I wish every one of our peers could hear this conversation, just to maybe that gives them that permission, right? Yeah. To understand that, like, dude, you don't have to pretend anymore, man. We are all older now. Yeah. Right. We fought our fights out there on that field, right? Yeah. We proved ourselves in that battlefield. We don't have to do that out here. Here we got to do it together. Yep. And that's where, like before we went live, that's why I mentioned to you the Bo Jackson interview with Stephen A. Smith this week. That was my thing. That was my kind of like my eye opener. Sure. And I'm like, that's my dude, because as a kid, that was one of my guys. For sure. You know, between him, Marcus Allen, Walter Payton, and then to have him say that, you know, and have confidence behind it, right? And then telling, like, you know, stop doing it. We got to do this as being the men that how fans looked up to us, our family looked up to us, to not feel that we're not masculine just because we're saying, hey, I got this chronic illness or I got this going on in my head. You know, that is okay for him to say that. That was like, cool. I was like, all right, it's time. All right, my turn. Cool. You know, that's basically what it was. Yeah. But I want to say, I mean, I'm not ending it to where, you know, if you want to keep going, great. But I want to say thank you so far. Yeah. Outstanding. Share. Yeah. This is a game. You know, my show usually is very upbeat, but it's not. I say for me, for my audience, this is a different feel because we usually talk about video games. Yeah. But I kind of hit on like tips of the week. So I give them, you know, mental tips to, like, when you're gaming, you know, and basically how to take an L. Okay. Right. And this conversation was like how to take an L. You know, how to take a life L. That's it. Because in gaming, you just hit reset or respawn and boom, you're up and running again in Warzone or Call of Duty or whatever, or Halo. Yeah. But not in this. Yeah. You know, this is life. I try to step on that fields of Call of Duty with y'all, but I don't play enough to be that good. I'm just gonna play the story because the campaign, right? Yeah. Y'all are too real for me. I'm like, I can't keep up. Right. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, you're right. It's that's the real skill set down the line, right? I recognize it's like, okay, how do you learn to lose sometimes gracefully? Yeah. And then understand that doesn't mean you're a bad player or a bad person. Right. Come on. Right. It's okay. We're all going to take them. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's okay. Yeah. So, well, I appreciate you letting me talk. And,
and spending the time.
Yeah.
And I appreciate your experience too, man. And I can tell like you're definitely an aware guy. And there's a lot of people walking around that aren't. So I always like to call that out and value that in somebody and say props to you for whatever work you've done on yourself to get to a place where you have that awareness and perception of what's going on in the world. That's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah. Akido, you got anything you want to join in? And
I did.
The question. So I got my good friend Alan. He goes by Akido Chinaru, which is arcade room in what is it? Korean?
Arcade channel in Japan. In Japanese, sorry.
In Japan. Nice. So yeah, so he has a question for you.
Cool.
Some of these are hard hitters. I was listening to your story, so thank you once again for coming onto the podcast. And I would say to Ahman as well, like even when Gilbert and Dorsey were on and stuff like that. I mean, there's some life lessons and value that, you know, even if you haven't played, you can still take away. There are people who struggle with, you know, substance abuse and just a bunch of other things like that can still take away from all of your guys' stories. And I think even more so because these are people, you know, who you watch on TV, who you look up to show that, you know, it's not, you guys aren't superhuman and stuff that way. So there's a lot of value, you know, to gamers, non-gamers, to your fans, you know, it helps them understand and probably relate as well. So with that being said, thank you for coming on to the podcast. I just had a couple questions that I wrote down as you were speaking. Some of these for you, some of these for Ahman, some of these for both. So the first question I had was, do you feel that the NFL athletes have adequate like healthcare coverage in place to sustain for the rest of your life for the few years that you did in the NFL in comparison?
I love you for asking that question. And my answer will be, no, I do not. I'm not going to mince words on that. Right? I mean, we get healthcare coverage. If you play long enough to get vested, you get full coverage for 5 years after you're done. Guess what? The joints don't hurt for the first 5 years.
Yeah. Right.
Things don't start happening until a little bit later down the road. So now they have done something special. They have created a benefit for us where they put $50,000 into a healthcare reimbursement account that you can utilize towards health expenses. And I have. I have absolutely done that. So I give them a lot of credit for that. But, you know, if you ask me, man, I feel like it would be really nice if we had healthcare coverage. If you play long enough to get vested, man, it'd be nice if y'all would take care of that for us. Okay. So I don't think it's adequate. I think there's definitely steps being taken, but in my opinion, it's not. What about you? What do you think?
I think, it could always get better. I say it could always get better. I mean, for the stuff like we just talked about, right? I mean, understanding, like I'll say this. This past summer, right after the summer ended, I went up to a Packer game, and I remember seeing, you know, teammates came back. It was kind of a reunion thing, and one of my teammates, his wife, talking to her, she's I think she now is a practitioner nurse, and she was talking about the fact that what we were talking about earlier about the registration of some things, you know, for this and for other benefits that are out there from other groups that support alumni, that sometimes, you know, getting a player in a situation to where they can, understand, like you said, reaching out and like teaching them how to do that because they don't want to do it. And because like it's really the whole conversation is when you need the help, how you ask for it. And that's how she was kind of trying to explain to me. And I'm like, 100%. Yeah. You know, because the guys, high percentage of guys are not gonna send the request, ask for help, and so you gotta like basically as the company or group like us kind of have to reach out to them. You know, I know that is obviously a two-way street, but that's kind of like the first place. And like I know we could do something where. Obviously, this asks for more manpower, but, you know, reaching out to knowing, because, you know, it's a list of names. These players are retired now that the NFL can put out there or puts out there, and we'll know whatever that number is, 1,500, 2,000, whatever, of guys that just retired from the 2026 season, you know, something like that. So it's something to where those players find out this, you know, they're aware of that. And then knowing once they know they got support, like right out the jump, and that it's not hard to find. I think that's kind of, I think that it's kind of the way to go. But like I said, there's some work behind it, though.
That leads me to my two-parter question, because I skipped ahead to question 4. So do you think that there's an adequate amount of help to guide athletes on the risks before and after playing as a professional athlete, like follow-up, like therapy or guidance to make sure that that transition is smooth?
You know, I think my opinion is I would just echo what Ahman was saying, and like you said, it kind of piggybacks on that last answer in the sense that, like, I do think there are services available for guys, but I think a lot of guys don't know they're there.
Right.
And I think the piece where there's work to be done is when we're giving them that information and how we're giving them that information.
Yeah.
Because I think what happens now is, at least what happened for me was when we went to the rookie symposium, they present us with all this stuff. Right, they tell us,
and it's like fire hose.
It's a fire hose. Yeah, I just got drafted. Guess what? I don't care what.
Yeah, I'm 23 or 22. I was 21. I was not even. I was 20. I was 20.
Wow.
And 2 weeks later, I turned 21.
Come on.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I think if we can make any headway, it would be in how we get that information to them. I think it'd be smart. You know, you talk about manpower, but I mean, heck, I would volunteer to go talk to. I would go tell my story in front of every team in the league, just so those guys know if they got a problem with drugs and alcohol. Hey, I know this dude knows what I've been through. I can call him up. You know, anything like that, stuff like that. Like same with you, right? Your situation that you went through, right? Being able to go in front of those guys, tell them that story, and then they know when something like that happens. Because guess what? It's going to happen to them.
It's going to happen. It's an inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
That was the rookie symposium, and now what I think now happens is agencies that help represent the player try to duplicate that, because some of the agents were around then. But if the agent wasn't around then, they don't really know about it. So the only thing they really do if they don't know about that type of conversation is just the finance side of it. How to manage your checkbook, how to manage your accounts, what's a money market, or how to hire a good financial advisor if it's somebody not within your family or whatever. That's kind of what all they cover is kind of that, but not like this stuff, which is a part of it, which you'll find out real fast, as we did, because I remember obviously between experience the combine, the BTS of that, the real BTS of the combine, to then getting to Seattle, and in my second year having a Super Bowl head coach and Mike Holmgren, great guy, fantastic coach. But then I'm on his not bad list, I would say his how can I put it? Well, I'll just say he labeled me as a fumbler. When I knew I wasn't, it was just the fact that I was trying to learn a new playbook, and I wasn't playing. I was just thinking too much. Sure. It was something I say to you, Alan, I was overthinking, right? Don't overthink it. I was overthinking because I'm like, I got this new playbook. It was vanilla in minicamp. But then when training camp hit, it was all the audibles, the adjustments, cover 2 zone, man press. If they blitz 2 from this side, now the lineman, tackle has to go there and I go here. And those are calls. It's a score call or emo call. And I'm like, so, I say what helped me through that, though, was the fact that being in college with Coach Tom Osborne, and being, I had some fantastic coaches there. So knowing how he would situate practice along with Coach Solis, my running back coach, that we basically, obviously, we run it in practice, then we go over on film, and then we talk about it. What threw you off in the coverage, or what threw you off with the play call, and then so I'm able to kind of break it down bit by bit. Sometimes the league wasn't in training camp. You ain't getting that. So especially with Coach Holmgren, coming in year 1, where we just fired Dennis Erickson, and I come from an offense where it's all numbers, like 892 was a play. Sure. For me, it was like remembering 92 blasts, or
Isn't that fun? Just to speak on that really quickly. Yeah. Isn't it interesting how different offenses, you got to learn, it's like learning a whole new language.
It is. No, it's a language. It's a language. So I went from speaking, I knew full English to now maybe Mandarin or German or Switzerland, Swedish, It's like Finnish language. I'm like, man, okay.
And by the way, I still got to run the ball.
I was about to say, and please run just the way you did.
Yeah, run like you ran in college. You got to do all that and process that information. So I hope that there's the long answer, Alan. He's shaking his head. He's like,
I mean, that was great. I was gonna say that ties into that. Like I said, I kind of did all these together. If you could do things differently or have advice to other athletes aspiring like college athletes, what would it be?
So he said, if you could do things differently, what would be the advice for aspiring, first year players or college athletes coming in?
I think for me, boy, I wish I had gotten humble sooner. Now I say that with the caveat that part of being an athlete at an elite level is having the confidence in yourself to be able to walk out in the field. So you have to have that. But I think for me, my ego and hubris was such that I really thought I had the answer to a lot of things I didn't when I was 22 years old. And the advice I would give to those guys is like, take the cotton out of your ears and put it in your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Listen a lot more than you talk early.
Yep.
Guys that'll tell you, you're not walking into a room where there aren't guys that'll be your mentor there. But,
no, hell no.
But know that you need it, because I didn't think I needed it, and I did. So
there's that mentor, or that's just finding that one teammate. And it's not even finding. Sometimes it just happens, right? And I would say my rookie year, in terms on the flip side, a guy that later on, he straight up told me, he said, I wasn't going to help you because I knew how good you were, was Ricky Waters.
Okay.
And he was a free agent back coming in right before I got drafted.
Okay.
So they signed a big, he's just coming from Philly, out of San Francisco, wins the Super Bowl, goes to Philly, has a, that's his hometown, but it didn't quite work out if you remember, and comes back to the West Coast, gets picked up by Seattle. All right, guy. And, he's the big money back. And then they draft me and Michael Black out of Washington State, me out of Nebraska. So we're the incumbent young guys. And, him knowing that and being 10 years in the league, he knows it. And so he knows, hey, these guys are here to take my job, basically. And just hearing him say that years later, and now me being older, I understood it. And I was like, so it wasn't no personal thing. Right. It's a business thing. Right. And because once I got to Green Bay and getting traded, and a lot of people know my trade story, but my third year there, 2001, I got there 2000, so 2002, that's when we drafted Tony Fisher and Najee Davenport. And I'm the full-time starter. But by this time, I already know, it's a business. They got to have inventory.
That's right.
And so, because obviously they got to say, hey, I know Ahman's durable, but just in case he gets hurt, we got these two guys we could plug in. And so I didn't take that personal. And all I did was I took those boys under my wing, something that Ricky didn't, but I didn't hold it against Ricky either. Sure. Because he looked at it as like, if I help this dude, he gonna take that money I'm making right now. So I get it. But for me was a different way. It's almost like that, that mindset of like Conan the Barbarian. It's like, look, I know what I got. Now, if you beat me, you beat me.
See, I love that.
So what?
Fair play.
I'm going to help you out, though. Yeah. Even if you become the starter, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, man, you beat me out. No, I'm going to say, hey, man, I got your back. Yeah. You won. You the starting person.
That's big, though. That speaks to your character, too.
Yeah.
Right? Because, not everybody's like that. But there were guys like that.
100%. It's majority of guys that'll be up there complaining, not helping you, even trying to sabotage you.
For sure.
And just knowing that. So I was like, I can't do that because it's just, for one, it's entrenched in my lining, that I've seen it, I've done it. Football, once you get to the higher levels, it's hard as hell, But if you're ready, physically ready and mentally ready, you can then graduate to the next level, And so for the only, like you already mentioned, the level that's harder to graduate is the mental level. The physical part of football, what we do is the easiest part.
100%.
And my freshman year at Nebraska, Aaron Graham, All-American center, said to me, in the college level, my freshman year, first time in the huddle, he's like, he saw me making a couple mental errors when we were just running the option offense, right? Run ball all day. He said, Ahman, this game is mentally, he says 90% mental, 10% physical. And I was like, click. I said, that makes sense. Because the physical part, I could run you over, I could juke you, you could block, you could cut block. But when in times then when you get ruled, you get dominated, you get pancaked instead of you pancaking the DN, how you gonna react?
Come on.
How you fumble the ball, I fumble the ball. What I'm gonna do next? Am I going to just be on the last seat on the bench and not want to go back and make up for? No. As soon as I make a mistake, I'm like, coach, put me in. Let me go. I'm ready. You know, or whatever my team needs me to do right now. I'm gonna go fix what I just did. You know, so that's the part where coming in the league, if you're not halfway there, you might struggle a little bit. You might. You're not saying that everybody's gonna do it, but you might struggle a little bit. Yep. For sure. Yep. So, yep. You good, Mr. Akido?
I had one other. Well, I had two other ones, but still, I was going to ask: do you think that NIL now would have been helpful in deterring the opioids or harm to your body to make money?
Do I think that the NIL would deter it?
Yes. Like, do you think as far as your name image, like if you had another avenue to, make money and do things with your name image likeness, like as far as your upkeep of your image and like kind of what you portray yourself as and things that way, do you think that could have made a difference?
Well, I'll tell you my immediate brain, and this is just a guy in recovery, so I speak from the perspective of somebody who's got substance use disorder and would openly identify as an alcoholic and drug addict, that if you exposed me to the money I would have gotten in the NIL, I would have been a kingpin and I would have been dealing to everybody on the team because I would have had enough money to buy as much product as I wanted. Okay.
Right. And that's being real.
Yeah, that's just being real. But so I think it's a double-edged sword. In one perspective, I think you take a very healthy perspective in the sense that you look at NIL now and the capacity for these guys to earn is based around their image, right? So maintaining that image puts you in a position to earn more, right? And I think that makes sense. But I can only speak from the perspective of somebody who has what I have. And for me, it would have just been a recipe for disaster, which, to be frank, I think that whole setup now is the recipe for disaster. We're seeing it a little bit now, and it's going to continue to get worse until they put some guidelines around this thing, man. It's kind of insane right now. And I think about, too, just to speak to kind of my world, the mental health of these guys, right? It's like not only professionally and also in the collegiate game, that things have changed. In collegiate game, the NIL money, in professional sports now with legalized gambling,
right?
There's not a game that gets played where a guy drops a pass and then he gets it in the locker room after the game, opens up his Instagram, and there's 15 death threats in there.
Yeah,
because Johnny lost the prop bet because you didn't catch 7 or 7,
which is crazy.
It's just crazy.
I remember hearing that 2 years ago.
It's crazy
about college players
pressure,
and current NFL players.
That pressure, I think, and too with the college guys, right? Even now with them, it's like the intensity level, the pressure with it has continued to increase. I think since when we even played, and I do worry for those guys in the sense of their mental health. That that stress is, if you don't have a way to process that, then you're going to run into problems.
Yeah. Well, for 100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the last question that I had too. Is do you believe that conversations like the one you and Ahman are having now, between athletes to share their experiences with one another, and even aspiring athletes like the draft? I know you mentioned it's a matter of manpower, but do you think that conversations like this would be more helpful?
Shoot. I think if you took Ahman and I and we had this conversation in front of every college athlete in the United States of America, every pro athlete, we could save a number of lives.
Yeah. Easy.
You could save a lot of people's lives. So I think it's vitally important that voices like this and stories like this get told more. We love to hear the story about the guy who wears the gold jacket because he got into the Hall of Fame and he rode off into the sunset and he bought a car dealership. And God bless those people. I'm happy for them that those are their experiences. But there's a lot of us that didn't have that experience. And the more we can shine light on those stories and let those guys know that, hey, we're okay too. It's really helpful.
Yeah, and it's a journey.
Yes.
Yeah, the warrior's journey right there. Yeah. So, man, hey, Jeff, thank you, man.
Pleasure.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you a lot.
Yeah.
Appreciate you a lot.
Yeah.
I'll make sure. No, you can find my information on the website, but I'll make sure I give you.
We'll get
Exchange information, phone numbers, email, so we can
Yes.
stay in contact. Because I'm a part of the board, so at least this one time a year you're gonna meet me. I'm gonna be here at Super Bowl because I'm here.
Cool.
I'm here to stay because I want to get the word out. And I remember the first couple of meetings we had in person, and the way my brain thinks now with what I'm doing with the podcast. I have this one and I have a football one where it's Believe in Packers, where I just break down game stuff.
Yeah.
And so my brain is like wired that way. It's like me not being that quiet kid no more in elementary and high school, all the way to high school. I was quiet. Now I'm that kid like, you know what? I think people would like to hear this.
Yes.
And I think it would be definitely effective in some way.
That's it.
It's going to spark ideas. It's going to spark a conversation because as the one cliche that my mom and dad would say all the time to us at the house, like, closed mouths don't get fed.
Wow.
So if you got something to say it.
That's it.
Even if it's something like it might, rub somebody the wrong way, at least get it out, and then we can have a conversation about it, and of course, so that, that's just something, like I said, the way I was brought up. So I appreciate you, coming in. I know you probably didn't expect it, but yeah, it was something that, me doing the podcast here was, part of what I wanted to do. Being a part of this group, like I said, getting the word out about what PFRP is, RPA is, for players. And it's knowing that, so slowly start get the word that, look, there's organizations here in football for current players, for players like making that transition, and for us, like years even out, is still there. And there, but there's more. We need more. This is not, sometimes it is. I say years ago, it was a Band-Aid on a dam. It's a Band-Aid on the dam,
Yes.
It's like, what?
Yes.
So I think for me and my team, I say the committee members, but then also the people behind the scenes in our group, that's what that's what we're working for, is to make sure that everybody has their say. We definitely, as former players, have our say so at the table. Like, we have our seat at the table. So, when between CBAs and making sure, our management, our leadership are there saying, hey, look, we need this for former players. We need that. And we keep that going, because obviously if we don't say nothing, they're going to think we're all good. Exactly. Yeah. So, but again, thank you again. And man, this was probably this was a fun one. I like this one. Because I like it because so many things that I know my viewership, because they know what the show is about, what we usually do. But we've been down this road before. I've talked about mental health. I had a man similar, like between our age, and his son also was a gamer, but then committed suicide. And this was a year ago. And remember Street Taco? That was his gamer name, is Street Taco. But he's our age and lost his son, to mental health problems. So I bring this up to tell people, look, even though for gamers, but former players, same thing. There's relation.
100%.
Even though, it's different worlds. Yes. So video games, esports competitors, to physical football players, to basketball, baseball, track, whatever. But at the end of the day, we're human beings.
I was just going to say that word. We are human beings.
We are human beings. You cut us, we bleed. You hurt us, we cry. You do something else, we get frustrated. So we have a relation. You think we don't. Yeah. And I tell people all the time, don't treat me no different because you believe you saw me on Monday Night Football, break this run off and all that. No, I did something extraordinary for 12 years. You count college football, 15 years. But at the end of the day, I'm a dad, I'm a little geek, but I'm somebody going through something, or not going through something, or helping somebody through something.
There you go.
I say, so don't say, oh my God, I'm sorry, if you forgot to bring me some water. No, you got a job to do. Yeah. We're just.
I think it's Ram Dass who says, we're all just walking each other home.
Ooh, I like that one.
You know?
Yeah.
Because we're all in it together, man. You know, I think I'm grateful to you because you are bridging gaps too, right?
Yeah.
Here you are, this 12-year vet, alpha athlete guy,
Mm-hmm.
and like now you're exposed to the world. Like, oh no, dude, like I'm a gamer. Like I'm in that lane.
Yep.
Love that, man. That's me. Like I'm. People always laugh when I tell them I paint. I'm an artist. You know, here I am. I look like a Neanderthal, and I'm out there taking pictures. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's good. You know, people. We are all complex people, but we are all walking each other home.
Gotcha. Something we do with when we have guests on the show. Would you like to share your social media if you have any website? Because I know you got that because you're dealing with mental health for former players, stuff like that. Yeah. Go ahead and share, and then I'll have. Actually, I think Alan, you'll be able to type it in. Okay. Yeah, he'll be able to put it in the chat and everything.
So my primary employment is through a treatment facility that I love out of Idaho called Eagle Creek Ranch Recovery. So their website is www.idahorecoverycenter.com. It's a men's only treatment program. Amazing place. Love working for them. I have my coaching business. So that's www.hatch-coaching.com.
Gotcha.
And then my Instagram handle is Old Kid Hatch because I'm just an old kid.
Right. Gotcha. You got that in there, Agito? Let's see here. I think you got the first one in.
First one's in. Oh, there you go. There's a picture of your newborn front and center.
On the website.
On the Instagram.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that one. Yep. So he got those in the chat for everybody.
The other one was, I'm sorry, the website.
What was the last one?
My website?
Yeah.
Hatch-coaching.com.
Hatch-coaching.com.
Got it.
There it is. Hey, man. Again, thank you. Pleasure, appreciate you. Oh, man. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Oh, man. Having some fun here. Yeah. That was it. Let me turn that camera off now. Move that. Boom. Yeah. Big stuff, man. Big boy stuff. My man Jeff there shared with us today.
1000%.
Good stuff. But now I could click on the website. I started to do that while he was talking. But let me see here and share the screen. But yeah. So here is the PFRPA website, and you see the Greater Good Fund, and our association is a nonprofit 501(c). People can donate, and the Football Greats Alliance is also the same, similar 501(c) that helps, raise funds for us, and then obviously, we're part of the collabo with NIL TV. That's all in there, so. You could go over to his website, read about it, former guys that you know. And actually, here's the board of directors. And you see my big old mug on here. I'm the youngest on here. But yeah, been at it for a year now. So very proud of the fact I was able to get voted in by guys that I grew up watching, playing football. And now I'm part of making sure that the next generation of guys who's playing currently can then come into the same mode of making sure they start taking care of themselves, and the next generation after them. Is a real easy form for the player to fill out. And you got, about us here and some of the other benefited programs that's here, the Greater Good Fund and dental.
I dropped the link for that too.
Yep. And we do there's social media workshops. I did this once, probably like 3 years ago now when I was in Lincoln. This was a good workshop. Some of the stuff I knew, obviously, being that, we're on social media posting, hashtagging all the time, but some of it was just more justification of how you have to prepare yourself to be a content creator on that stuff. And then it has another link here, initiatives that the PFRPA is doing between civil rights, making sure. Let's click on that one. See what this one is. It says our focus. I like this. So they're amplifying the cause. So civil rights are immensely important to our society and our members. We offer a platform for members to share their thoughts, experiences, hopes for change every week. We post stories, quotes, videos, messages for our members, along with resources, information, and on civil rights organizations through our various social media channels. For live updates, to join on the conversation about civil rights, join us on Facebook, Twitter, or X, and Instagram. So this is where former players can tap in to stay updated with stuff that's going on, in the world of politics, but then also in the world of what's dealing with, what we're dealing with, like we talked about here with Jeff today. So I say the room here is pretty cool. We got bean bags. So, and I hooked up my Switch. So if anybody wants to play, a little bit of Mario Kart, we
You're
had
trying to take people down while you're there too. Dang.
Right, some of the behind the scenes folks in here playing some Mario Kart. So I thought that tickled me. I love it because everybody plays video games. That's one of our little mantras here on the game.
I feel like you're just trying to scope out some talent to get you on the podcast and see who you can take down in the new Pros versus Joes. That's what I think.
Oh, no, you got that dominated right now. So, but yeah, everybody could save this website on their tab. You go through it, you're going to see some guys you recognize on here. It's pretty cool. Websites updated a lot frequently. And it's just players and older players, current players telling their stories on here. About what they're doing now, what they did when they were playing.
I mean, now that you've got access and you're on the board and stuff for this, congratulations, by the way. It's one of those things where I feel like that, gives you a pretty good avenue to get some of these people, more seasoned people that are interviews on the podcast, et cetera, and so forth that way, just like this one. I think it's a really cool thing. So
yeah.
I think a lot of people would tune into it too, because I don't think, those real conversations like you just had, like I wrote in the chat, you're not going to get that, anywhere else. You're not going to get that on, ESPN, no, whatever else it is. This is more of a real life. Your in real life streams are always that. So people always got to buckle in.
The IRL stuff.
That's a treat.
But and also remember, we are still in the Digital Divide Initiative fundraiser. So I don't have the T-shirt on now. I've got our retired pro football retired players association T-shirt now. But you could go to that link. I think Akid will put the link.
I did post the link in. I can post it again.
Yeah. So go there. And we're doing good. I think we're over $1,000 now. So we're cooking. Raising that, and I had some great contacts with people where there's some good opportunities in the space of what we're doing with NIL TV and what we're doing with my channel and the whole esports thing, and me getting back onto coaching here in the Houston area. So we got some. I think Monday we'll catch up in our group meeting with Bain. He was here. The Twitch meeting went well. Fill everybody else in on that. But for everybody tuning in, this is Super Bowl week, and it's kind of a stage where you could come in and kind of share what you're doing with the world, because everybody that's here, a lot of groups that are here are from around the world. I mean, there's newscasters from Japan. I say from every continent. I'll just say that the 7 continents of the planet. Somebody's from that, one or more people, dozens of thousands of people are here right now. That's why traffic is getting heavy every day since Monday, and getting ready for tomorrow's game. Like Saturday, I'm like, for me, I don't even know what day it is, to be honest, but I know it's Saturday because we're doing this, and I told Alan I'm doing the podcast on Saturday, so that's how I know it's Saturday. But yeah, it's this is where Radio Row to different activations all over the town that are here in the center of downtown San Francisco. It's all, you got the ESPNs from Canada, from England, from Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, Malaysia, everywhere that are here, because this is one of the bigger sporting events, along with the Olympics, along with the World Cup, along with Major League Baseball, World Series, NBA basketball, World Series. It's biggest spectacle on the planet right now. So it's pretty cool. And when you come to these events, maybe one day I could get the team here. Well, I got, was able to get what he brought himself here was Bane. Shout out to Bane. And he had a good time. He got a nice little tour of Twitch Studios, but one day we could get the whole team, or one team member at a time, get you guys to, be here. Or Super Bowl next year is in Los Angeles. There's Twitch Studios in LA. There's EA Studios there. I had a good conversation with EA. They're here at Super Bowl. So might be some things that we could help, work out. I got follow-up calls with EA next week, follow-up calls with Twitch and other esports companies and things of that nature. So NIL TV and Mind Green TV, True Blue TV, all still growing. So we got the manpower and I say assistance that's going to be going on in the next year or two. I think it's going to be fun. Some fun stuff coming around the line. I know for the next month, we got CollectorCon that we'll be at in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. I'm looking at flights now, make sure I get my flight booked. Trying to hopefully see if it could be me and Marie coming up, not just me, and get the room set and everything. And then we got Milwaukee Gaming Classic at the end of April coming up. So we got some big things. Again, traveling with the Gamers Lounge, giving people a little bit something different, and I think the week off obviously does a lot, right? I mean, for you could hit the books, you could just kind of relax from it. You ain't got to worry about being online and trying to carry everybody or beat everybody in Monday matchup, Akido. So
week off's been dope.
Man, yeah, it's fun. You got, and that's that's what I know as a leader, of this team and of on my channel for people in the chat. You got to give yourself breaks. You have to. If you don't, you start grinding to the metal, and you don't want that. All that rubber on life. Like on the tire. Once that tire gets bald, nope. You got to switch the tire out. You got to take a break and do something different. This is something different. Being on the road, but talking more outside of the realm that we hit on. Sometimes is that mental health, but also the support behind it. This is something I don't do it by myself. I have a team of a group of people that are amazing. They help with social media in terms of the PFRPA. I'm always saying PFRPA. I gotta go slow. That they do a fantastic job of the social media, same that we do with NL TV. So they're helping out, getting the word out of what we're trying to do, and growing this NIL TV, but other things that we're, helping out. And so the website, I think, had that. And I mentioned the website earlier. I'm gonna show that one again, the Native Youth Foundation website. Bring that up again. That's something I've talked about that I'm a part of now, helping that group out. And that was a fun group. Young ladies playing sports. But yeah, check out. I don't know if you did it already, Akido.
I'm working on it now.
Download the FNX app. It's a First Nations Experience app where it has a bunch of tribal entertainment, native entertainment. I'll say that, native entertainment. It's like the Netflix for native tribes around America. And they have content, comedies, children's stories similar to Netflix, similar to Disney Plus. And they have this game on there too that we played on Monday.
Was Cole out there with you?
No, he will be when we go to Rez in Vegas, and the week after, a couple weeks after CollectorCon, he will be. We'll be together doing that. So yeah, I definitely got the stuff I wanted to share of this week. Say good conversations with a lot of people here, and this is one of those platforms. So Super Bowl week, even though I'm not here for the game, I'll be home this time tomorrow. I'll be home. Wow. Watching the game. So I'm gonna get up early, hit the road, get myself on the plane back to Houston, and enjoy the game. And so, but this time now is she obviously shared with everybody that's here, you, Akido, and in the chat. But just like I said, give everybody a little bit of different taste of it. But it's something I'm gonna do that we usually do in on the Gamers Lounge is my gamer tip of the week. I'm gonna go down that aisle real quick. Let me see, where did I put it at? Here. Gamer tip of the week is, hold up, boom. Yeah, take this off of here, stop sharing, boom. And that gamer tip of the week, we're in the fighting games, remember? Fighting games. And so fighting game fundamentals, flashy. So fundamentals, fighting game fundamentals versus or greater than flashy combos. So that tip is winning neutral, blocking correctly, and punishing mistakes, making matter more than the long combos that it takes you a while to learn. You know, that's how sometimes when we're in a matchup, that's why I always start learning how to block first. I always have to block. Once you learn how to block, you keep I keep you at bay.
You do. You really do. Like I will be the first to say I am trash at blocking and parrying. I am absolute trash.
You're not trash. You just don't you don't hit it. You don't
Tekken ain't it. If you look at all those TikTok reels, it's you beating me senseless just because I could not block it. And then
I think it's backwards. You just move it backwards.
Well, dude, I mean I do, but I mean like it's the high versus the mid versus the low.
Right.
Most of the time when I'm hitting you or something and you're going low, you're good at doing between the high and the low, and I'm just trying to like swap it up. I'm like, just keep punching him, just keep punching him, just keep punching him. Just he's gonna miss one of those times.
Right.
But when you're doing it to me, I'm just like, I'm not even thinking about blocking. I'm over here just trying to figure out when I can sneak my next attack in and parry break just so I can start relentlessly hitting you again. I need to work on blocking. I am trash.
Yeah, right. That's me too. Like especially on 2XKO where you got my number and you got the moves down a little bit.
That's only because I'm trying to tag those guys in. I'm like, no matter what, I need to keep punching them on. I have to keep punching him. You can't stop.
Yep. So, yes, sir. So the practice says practice focusing on your spacing, as we always talk about. Playing footsies, you know, trying to say who's going low or high, like what you were just mentioning, Akido. And then make sure you're not doing the whiff punches. Kind of he's swinging, I'm going to swing right now too. No, make sure it's timed right, because when you don't swing and you whiff, then you get punished. And it says, and hit confirms to level up consistency. So that's the practicing and warming up before jumping in a online match or even a head-to-head match like we do, Akido on Thursdays. So yeah, you just got to make sure don't hit that no panic button, because you want to get a punch in. So just have that patience to wait for the right hit after a block, and then you could punish. So Ben says next year we're going to have to get Super Bowl tickets to the game for the team though. Yeah, the Super Bowl tickets are not like getting a loan from the bank. Tickets are ridiculous.
You might as well.
So we bought tickets for the team, for the NIL TV team. So you, me, Bane, Notorious, and we'll, you know, even though she just left, that's okay. But Z, you're talking about 5, 10, 15, 20, 25K. We're not on that level. You're talking about 25K, Bane. So let me know if you find someone to fit that bill, please. Thank you, Eeyore.
Super Bowl. Just give me the money.
In a row.
Forget that. You can watch it. I'll stay home. Home with a bag of Cheetos for 5K.
Well, the one thing is we do have the hotel rooms are not too bad, so we could still swing that. It could be like any other con, you know, like Milwaukee Gaming Classic. The rooms are somewhat affordable, so there you go. But real quick to lock down. So that practice of the footsies and making sure you don't throw a panic punch so you don't get punished later for your Ahman Gamers Tip of the Week. So practice that stuff for when you're in an FGC match. Just make sure you stay on top. All right, because you don't want to get caught. I say not get caught, but get a habit of doing bad things basically in playing head to head or online matchups. So Yes, sir. So what you got on the slate after this? It's what? I mean, you 2 hours ahead, so it was almost 8 o'clock for you, ain't it?
I literally had Steph had Jersey Mike's delivered.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
it said,
What'd you get? What'd you get?
What a club, whatever she got. I don't know. I just eat it, man. I'm not.
Gotcha.
Anyway, then I said, I was like, man, it's 6 o'clock. I think Ahman was gonna go live, and then she's like, he is live. And then I saw the link to the email. I'm like, I gotta go, honey.
No, yeah, but I mean, if you had not, it would have been okay. I was ready to carry. You know, I'm always ready.
Well, I thought, when you're out and about in the real life, when you're doing your stuff there, I didn't know how much gear you brought with to even, But,
all right, Bane. He says, all right, I gotta get back to this birthday party. I'll tap in with y'all tomorrow. All right, Bane. Have a good the rest of your night. Enjoy the birthday party, man. Yeah, tomorrow we'll just be around this time. I'll be watching the game. So I don't know if I'm gonna stream tomorrow. I think I'm not because I've been gone away from home for 6 days now. So
if you want to chill, just chill. I mean, we'll kick it, whenever.
Yeah, I'll probably chill. Yeah, I'll probably do that. Chill home tomorrow, and then get ready for Monday. Play some college football and a little bit of and some Call of Duty, and then more Call of Duty on Tuesday, and get back into the flow. But then start all them follow-up calls and emails I'm gonna send out. So, because like I said, had a great talk with EA, had a good talk with another group called Valhalla Esports. They're out of Vegas, so good stuff there. It was a great discussion. Have fun at the game tomorrow. Later, team. All right, Naughty. He said, "Go Pats." Gotcha. I'm gonna say, "Go Hawks." That's where I think they got the opportunity to get the win. And real quick in the chat, everyone, whoever wants to participate, but I would like everyone, all the 103 people looking in on LinkedIn and YouTube, and we're streaming on both. I don't know if you know.
I saw that. Yeah, I don't know how you did that. Yeah, you are.
StreamYard is magical. So I was able to stream on NIL TV and Ahman Green TV.
I did post the links to both pages, so
right.
I did see that.
So who's your Super Bowl pick? You got the Seahawks. I think the spread for both sides of it is 4.5 for each. Well, who's your pick? Throw your pick in the chat real quick before we jump off this stream. Who is your pick for the Super Bowl? And Akido, I know you don't know football, but just pick one.
I'm gonna go with all the Seahawks because you're going with the Seahawks. I'd say whoever got the best snacks.
The best snacks?
Whatever party has the best snacks, I hope that team wins.
I'll say this. Okay. Best snacks are restaurants. I lived in Seattle for 2 years. They got places like the Pike Fish Flying Fish Pike Market, whatever. You could throw the fish that you want to cook at home and tenderize it a little bit. So that's salmon, that's tuna, that's cod or whatever. So you get some deep fried fish, or you get a nice salmon. There's a restaurant because that's where PAX West is at. So we may be there one day, Akido, for the Gamers Lounge. They have a restaurant called 13 Coins. So Atomic Bomb, he says Seahawks, nice. So they got a place called 13 Coins, and they have a good steak and they have good burgers at 13 Coins in Seattle, downtown Seattle. And it's walking distance from the Seattle Convention Center. That's where PAX West is at. So we got Eeyore said, oh, no, that's Akido talking to Eeyore. Oh, that's headset conversation. He says, I'm doing a snack blaster as my company for principles and marketing. Hey, I like it, Akido. I'm in game for that.
Dude, it was a really good idea, man. Like, that's the whole conversation.
Hey, flush that idea out. Flush it out, baby. And AR says, I want to run Blood Bowl 2 and see who wins the game. What is that on? Is that on PlayStation, Xbox, or PC, or all of that? Because I remember that game. I just haven't played it.
Atomic, what was the game you told me that we should play? Was it Mutant Football or something like that?
Yeah, Mutant Football 2 is out. That's the one.
Yeah.
Hip Hop and I were communicating. I'm not sure if I got it in the game or anything, but I got in contact of remember the guy, Tim Catro, that does the voice for NBA Jam. like you're on fire. That guy, we're gonna get him back on the show after this week. So,
are we doing it at MGC or you want to do it prior?
No, we might do it prior, but he's gonna be there too. And we got I gotta check my email. The creator of Mutant League sent him game codes. So for us. So I gotta check my email. I gotta check my Twitter.
Hey, I might be down for that. That sounds more fun. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So when he told me that, I was like, because he had reached out to me and I didn't know because I haven't checked my mail on X in so long, but I checked it and sure enough it said that. So we got that coming at us. So Mutant League 2 is fun. I played one was fun. I played one way back when at CES in Chicago when I went down there. I want to say that was before COVID. It was like 2018, 2017, somewhere in there. I went down to CES and they were playing it and I jumped on it a little bit. It was fun. It's obviously you got horror monsters playing football and ripping each other apart, which is hilarious. So
that's right up your alley, man.
But yeah, I'll check my my ex to see where that conversation. And either way, we're gonna pan out to MGC and be doing it anyway. And for CollectorCon, little birdie told me that obviously get our game ready for NFL Street and NBA Street, Def Jam Vendetta, and Fight for New York, Def Jam, and all that stuff. So Ludio, if he's in the chat, I know he's smiling. He was in earlier. I know he's smiling from ear to ear. So, but no, man, this has been another great stream. My man Jeff Hatch sharing his story, mental health, transition, and I always tell you, we always talk about how you take that L, right?
Yeah, we do.
And the Digital Divide Initiative is still going. So if you look right up here, there's the logo. And then on the other side, by Akido's head, is the QR code. I'm trying to turn my finger. Which way? Oh, that way. Oh, wait a minute. That way. Oh, I'm messing it up. There you go. Up there above his head, you can scan that QR code to get it. Not this T-shirt, but the all-time leading rusher T-shirt for of me in a Packers uniform and all that fun stuff. You could get that, donate to the cause, and you have a little trinket, right? Because just sometimes donations you don't really get nothing, and but now you get something really cool. Getting a fun T-shirt with your boy on it, running the ball. That game that looked like the Tampa Bay game from 2004 when I was playing. That I was coming downhill hard on somebody. So
I just dropped the link there as well. What's crazy to me is both you and him were able to remember all these dates, like exact dates.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you guys do that.
It's just like when we're playing a match and you win or lose, you remember, oh man, that dude came from that right side so fast that it caught me off guard. Same thing. And especially when it's physical, because when you get that, and you probably remember a lot because you're always saying, ow, that hurt.
No, you know what? I would say that's true. There's some losses that we've had, in Halo and things like that, where I'm like, not only did it like emotionally hurt, like virtually, I guess it would have hurt, but like it hurts your pride. I'm like, man, that hurt. Like when we were on like the bridge and we just kept dying on that capture the flag match, and then Eeyore took the warthog off the. I mean, I'm like, ow. I'm like, man, there's certain things that just kind of stick out, like certain blowouts. So you're just like, man, that hurt.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you the exact date, but
facts. But in football, trust me, when you got a linebacker in your chest or in your ribs, you're gonna remember that game.
I'm sure you can go back and look at the hospital receipts on half of that. Forget that.
Yep. So, man, he says, Bear fan said, you remember the first time you get hit hard in the cold and everything after that, you remember so it don't happen again. Yep. And getting hit in the cold, the worst thing about getting hit in the cold is your fingers. And between wearing a certain type of glove, because what I would do when it got below 30, I would, mittens, regular mittens. I would put that on first and then put my football glove over that. And at first, it was a little thick, but then eventually in warm up, it would kind of even out. Then I could grip the ball real good and all that. But it kept my fingers warm. And then if I got hit on my hand, it didn't feel like my fingers fell apart, like shattered. Because if you don't get that, you could get hit when it gets so cold, your fingers feel like they're shattering, and it's weird. But it feels like you're made of glass and your hands just broke. That's as simple as I could put it. And it's the worst feeling in the world. I had that happen in high school for the first time, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" I'm wearing gloves when it gets cold out. So,
would you say that like Southern teams are at a disadvantage when they play in Wisconsin in the cold like that?
100%. and they get in trouble because they let the mental take them over, because they're like, "Oh man, it's so cold. What's up, Superfan? How you doing?" And he said, "I'm receiving end of a screamer from Brett Favre in the cold." 100%. You get a broke thumb, index finger. He broke all of Donald Driver's fingers except for his thumbs. He broke he didn't break Bill Schrader's hand because Bill Schrader got smart. Reebok was one of our sponsors. So he found Reebok would sell these like almost aqua gloves, and they were so thick that it slowed down the impact of Brett's throws. So that's why he never lost a finger. But
you out there legit talking about losing fingers?
Yeah, broke fingers off of Brett's balls. Yeah. So Donald, all his fingers but his thumbs. He broke all his fingers, all 8 fingers, at least once, but not his thumbs. Antonio Freeman broke most of his fingers, not all. And that's how hard number 4 can throw the ball. And I was happy because I was a running back. He's not going to do that to me because I'm only 5 yards away. He can't do that. That's not unless he don't like me that day. But he always liked me. I was one of his best friends. So Atomic said, didn't he break Robert Brooks' fingers a few? Oh yeah, and then I wasn't with Robert Brooks, but yes, Robert Brooks was done playing by the time I got to the team. But he broke a lot of his fingers as well. Mark Chmura, excuse me. Yep. So that just show you how strong his arm was and how he had the mindset of where he thought he could get the ball in anywhere. And it's like, bro, you can't do it, but I'll break their hands before they intercept the ball. I'm like, okay, be my guest. If you could do it, dog. Go ahead and break their fingers. But yeah, he could torch that ball. And so if we're in a video game, like you put the link in, we could talk about this next week. Tecmo Bowl is coming back. But if they put in graphics and they bring back old school players like Brett, I will have to put a graphic on his ball coming out of his hand and have in Friday. Remember in Back to the Future where the tires left the fire tracks on the ground? That's what you do with Brett's ball. It might be a fire track in the air from the time it left his hand to the person catching the ball. And then if you caught it, you'll burn or something crazy. That's how hard he threw the ball. It was just, I remember I used to hear the ball. I remember one time I ran a route and I was right under his ball being thrown to Antonio or Javon Walker or somebody behind me, and I heard the ball fly past my head and I ducked. And I was like, just missed my head by a few inches. And I was like, oh my God. I said, I heard the ball. I never heard the ball fly by my head that fast. I was like, what is he doing? I was like, man. Atomic says all-time favorite football game, NFL 2K, Blitz, NFL Blitz, Madden, Quarterback Club, NFL Game Day, and which year? Ooh. Here's the registration for the link for Tecmo Bowl tournament. Okay. Well, NFL 2K, I was the motion cap for running backs, linebackers, wide receivers, and defensive backs. So that's one of my favorites because I did the mocap for that. So, but my other ones I love. I love Madden. I love Tecmo. And then one that you didn't put on there, Atomic, 10-yard fight. You didn't put 10-yard fight on that. That's an old oldie but goodie Nintendo one. It goes. I didn't know you played chaps when you were running, or playing the piano when you were running. Is this Ludio's tournament, Akido?
It is. It is for the Tecmo Bowl, the Tundra Bowl tournaments, the rules and stuff, the 10th to the 11th. $5 entry fee goes to local charity. And then I went ahead, and it's right on his website, but I did give you a direct link to that. I've seen it on his Facebook. If you want to go support that, if you are in the Milwaukee area, I believe it will be at the Watering Hole in Green Bay.
Yeah, Watering Hole. Yep.
In Green Bay, Wisconsin.
So before we chime off here, I'm gonna say it in earshot of some of the behind the scenes folks. 2 young ladies that did not want to come on. They like, when I asked them, I was going to interview them. They was like, no, they're going to come on one day. They don't know this. You know how I am, Akido. I'm going to get them.
I've seen it happen. We're going to get them.
We're going to get you.
We're going to get you.
They trying to ignore me right now.
That's fine.
They're going to be on the show one day. One day. Yep. One day. And it's going to be a good day. So. For everybody in the chat, thank you, Tomic, Eeyore, Akido, of course, showing up as well.
Always.
Wild Willow was on earlier. Ludio was on earlier, and my man Jeff Hatch to share his story. Amazing. And this gonna be on the VOD, so this gonna be out there. And then Sway is gonna clip it up too, so we'll be able to get this out and share it with a lot of people.
Tag him as well with his social.
Yeah, we'll tag him. We got his Instagram stuff. That's all in the chat.
Let me make a note of that before I forget.
Yeah, make that note real quick. And so that was episode 283, y'all. We're on 283, almost to 300. We're gonna have to come up with some ideas for episode 300.
I was wondering if we were going to be able to make it to. I don't think we're going to make it.
I don't think we're making it in Milwaukee Gaming Classic. Nah, I might be back in Houston after that because we got 17 episodes.
26. Oh yeah, 17 episodes, I believe.
Yeah, 17 episodes until 300. So, do we have 17 weeks? No, we're not. Nah. Yeah, we're past that. There's 17 weeks, unless we start double dipping, and we start doing a Monday stream and a Friday stream, or a Monday stream and a Thursday stream or something like that. Then we could then we could catch up. We could definitely catch up. We do 2 a week. We could catch up and then hit it at MGC. But let me sleep on it before I start.
We got about 11 weeks, so you'd have to get like 7 or 5, 6 extra streams in.
It'll be 2 a week.
Yeah. Depends on if you get some real, if you do some IRL ones in between, like you did for today.
Yeah, like I did today and earlier this week.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yep. And everybody else tuning in on LinkedIn and YouTube and NIL TV, Twitch, Ahman Green TV, Twitch, and X. Thank you very much for coming and joining in, listening in. But you guys can participate. Drop a question in the chat if you got for me, because we're going to be digging down a rabbit hole of IRL once we get the Duke athletes in here, coming in and sharing their stories, playing games with us, having a good time, things of that nature. So it's going to be a fun journey, sharing, learning the hero's journey or the athlete's journey. And I got some good show ideas for that, so we can get those young athletes to share their journeys of becoming D1 scholarship athletes to, in a space that I didn't live in, was transfer portal and NIL, getting paid to go to college. Didn't start with me, or I didn't have that. I'll say that. I didn't have that. They have it now, and just wonder how that world is. Obviously way different than what it was for me. But we get to find what that is like, so
Right.
So Akido, appreciate you, man. And watch the game. Watch the game tomorrow. You're gonna sit down and watch your first full football game.
I watch the halftime performances sometime.
I ain't talking about the whole. I'm talking about the football side of it. And I know Bad Bunny So how many people in the chat happy about Bad Bunny performing? Anyway, I know I am. I'm super excited. I like the culture change, keeping it relevant. I love that. You know, they
He's
had
gonna do
Kendrick
his
Lamar
thing. I
last
think
year.
he's a cool dude. You know.
Yeah, he had Kendrick Lamar last year, and now they got Bad Bunny. You know, looking forward to. You know, we went to the Madden Bowl, even though it's just a concert. I went last night, and it was a couple country bands, music folks. It was country and rock. You know, something different, something new. You know, not my cup of tea, but it was actually, you know, enjoyable. So
I think that's the main. What you just said there is what's going to define this Super Bowl halftime, because you know it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but as long as it's enjoyable, especially in lieu of like you know everything that's happened this year regarding the heritage of Bad Bunny and everything else.
right.
You know, I would say this. Let him party it up and let him do his thing. And I think like everyone's going to be watching to kind of see, you know, how this goes because it's relevant. And I would think, you know, that there's a lot of positivity that can come about it. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Yep. And Atomic Bomb says all we can do is go up from here, or grow up from here. Together we are strong. Yes, we are. So, yes, we are, buddy. And the Superfan Life of the Mascot episodes. Ooh, I like that. Hey, I always want to be Herbie Husker or Little Red, or even the Bucks mascot. What's the Bucks mascot name?
It's probably something like Bucky or something, dude. I swear.
Oh, that would be my, if you could have gave me that job in high school, I'm all over. Bango. That's his name. Bango. I would totally do that job. That would be my job.
Bango.
For sure. That would be my job. Man. But yeah, we'll talk about that next on the next Gamers Lounge. Mascot shows, athlete journey shows that we're going to be doing with the Duke athletes coming on here, having some fun. And some of the new content coming to NIL TV, esports, and the Mind Green TV and True Blue. We're gonna eventually get a True Blue channel going too, just so you know.
All right, dude. What if we had like a mascot, NFL mascot, Super Smash Bros?
Ooh, I haven't thought about that one. They need to. It says I was the mascot for a month back in college during basketball season. My sophomore year, awesome. What was your mascot, Superfan? And then we can get up out of here. Fallout final episode was fire. Okay, I got to break that down for next week.
I didn't even watch it. I was happy we didn't do it today.
Yeah, no, I wasn't gonna do it. I had too much other stuff to cover with what we're doing here. So
fine by me.
So what was that mascot, Superfan? And we'll get out of here. Oh, a bulldog. Nice. Ooh, one of my favorite animals. I love bulldogs. I love huskies, bullies, and obviously now English mastiffs.
Dogs are huge.
And pitties. I like pitties. I like pit bulls. That's kind of like me. I was a pit bull on the football field. And that thing got hot in the gym. Yeah, it did. That's one thing. You're going to always be in shape. If you're in the mascot, you're going to sweat. So appreciate you, Superfan, for sharing that. But we're going to jump off, and I might be going to Top Golf. I don't know. I need to get some dinner, though. Got Top Golf invite. Go to what we did today at a football camp for girls, another one, tournament, and disabled veterans. Bear fan. I did a flag football game with disabled veterans today. Some I've done in previous Super Bowls, but it's the first time we was able to do it again. So I'll be doing it next year. So Disabled Veterans Foundation was here, and I went and played a game. I did quarterbacking, so I wasn't running around, but it was fun to be out there with the vets. You know, some of them had, prosthetic legs and arms, and some didn't have neither. And they were out there playing. I mean, we had a guy out there with no legs and just his upper body, and he was trying to sack the quarterback. You know, he's just out there having a great time. So I appreciate them doing what they were doing. And it just shows you so much about humanity and what we could go through and still do things, you know. And so if you ever had one of those bad, for me, when I meet and talk to them, they tell me their stories. So whenever I have a bad day, I think about them and what they've been through, So it's amazing to be a part of that foundation. And when Super Bowl comes around every year, they do other events, but I know for Super Bowl, I get to chime in and be on football field with them, and I know they love it, because they're a fan, but they also get an opportunity to live vicariously through me in my career. But me coming out there, being a friend, being a teammate for a 30-minute game it's the world to them. So that's another thing I love to do. So appreciate y'all all jumping in. And so now I will release y'all, and so you can enjoy the night with your family, jumping on and gaming, do something. I know I'm gonna get me some food. I'm a little hungry. And this is myself and Akido signing off for the night. So you have tuned in to Ahman Green's Gamer Lounge, Super Bowl edition, episode 283. And so this is a place for gaming and other fun topics like we talked today. So appreciate everybody coming in, and we'll be back next week breaking down Fallout final episode. I think we're on the final episode. I'm not sure.
We're not on the final episode of this season. I don't think so.
It's up. Yeah, final episode is up, but I think we're only on episode 4 or 5 of Fallout. So we'll be hitting that and having a good time. So thank you for joining in. You got your little daily dose of gaming goodness and some, I say, philosophies on life in general, for sure.
Y'all got the realness today.
Yeah, we got the realness today. So this is on VOD. Make sure you jump on the VOD. You take this and download it because it has some good, insightful conversation. Great episode. Again, thank you to Jeff. So everybody on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on both Twitch channels, NL TV Esports and Ahman Green TV and X. Again, thank you for coming in, and I will see you all next week. All right, here we go. Get to the music. Let's get the music on first. Is that it? Nope. Here we go. There it is. All right. Get the banner up. All right. See y'all later. Bye. Oh, nope, that's the background. There it is. Boom. Bye.